Five Dysfunctions of a Team, a Leadership Fable, by Patrick Lencioni. If you are familiar with Aesop, you know that sometimes it is easier to learn lessons that hit too close to home through a story. Patrick Lencioni uses just this technique in his writing. Five Dysfunctions of a Team begins with a realistic fable about a fictional Silicon Valley tech company that is just about to go public when they choose to ditch their CEO. The team is a mess of infighting and backbiting. Interestingly, an unlikely 57-year-old woman with little tech expertise gets hired as the new leader, as per the suggestion of the board chairman, because her husband coached his kid on a high school sports team. Well, that's what the disgruntled employees of Decision Tech think anyway. He has actually been following Catherine's career, and she has a record of being a great team builder, just what this company needs. The story is engaging and introduces 5 problems that contribute to the overall dysfunction of the team at Decision Tech. These, and ways to fix these problems, are the meat of the book, and they can be applied by various leaders, from school administrators to clergy, and including coaches and business executives as well. Lencioni presents the problem as a pyramid in which each level is based on an underlying issue. Ultimately, the business is built on a weak foundation. From the top down, here's how the dysfunctions are all related. The organization exhibits an inattentiveness to results, which uncovers an avoidance of accountability, which uncovers a lack of commitment, which uncovers a fear of conflict, which is based on the overall absence of trust. The absence of trust is the key issue. Because team members do not feel that they can trust one another, nor their superiors, they won't ask for help or admit mistakes. The fear of some sort of retribution makes them unwilling to be vulnerable. Of course, if you are vulnerable and you do not trust those you work with, you do not risk conflict. The fear of conflict is sometimes hard to recognize because the absence of conflict looks like everyone is getting along just fine. But in this case, it is actual artificial harmony. Not confronting one another when there are differing views on the team inhibits conversations and negotiations that could inform production or performance in a positive way. Avoiding these conversations in an effort to avoid conflict yields a lesser product or inferior performance. Corrections and adjustments just don't get made. And think about it. If you know something is not right in what your team is doing, but you haven't wanted to start a debate because of your fear of conflict, you sit back with a half-hearted commitment. You know it could have been better, and it wasn't done the way you would have done it, so you have a lack of commitment. Lack of commitment is common in teams that do not hear from every member. Even if all members don't ultimately agree, and your way was not the way chosen, you will have greater commitment if you were involved and felt heard. Therefore, when there is no basis of trust, team members fear conflict and will not offer input. The result is that they naturally separate themselves from the product and lack a sense of commitment to it. Obviously, these team members feel left out, and when something doesn't go smoothly, they do not feel at all accountable. And to avoid conflict, they aren't going to bother telling the others when they have skipped a step or missed a deadline. You can see that when team members avoid accountability, standards are lowered. And inattention to the results occurs. After all, the team wasn't together on it, and various members shirk responsibility, thinking they really weren't a part of it. Attention to personal status and ego takes over, and a vision for the success of the whole is lost. You can see how blame and infighting would take root in a team if this were the usual mode of operation. Lencioni actually insists that even if one dysfunction is allowed to exist, it will grow and snowball into this pyramid of dysfunction. Fortunately, he does give a number of ways to address dysfunction that you may note in your organization. The root issue is to build trust, which takes time, of course, and willingness to be vulnerable. His suggestion is that you lead and participate in specific exercises to encourage safe personal exposure. For example, if a leader candidly shares a personal weakness and a personal strength, team members might be more likely to share their own. The team may then realize that, if they work together, they can balance out their weaknesses by using one another's strengths for the good of the company. Encouraging conflict sounds counterproductive, but being able to honestly disagree and give your reasons allows the team to make improvements. Conflict is likely in any truly productive discussion. Getting over the fear of conflict requires setting a new norm for group meetings, and Lencioni suggests that a new standard or agreement be written out, a team engagement charter. This should be signed by group members and revisited each meeting in order to establish a new norm. Productive discussion can lead to better buy-in. Leaders are more likely to get the team's buy-in if the team members have had the chance to give honest input and feel that they have been heard. The leader ultimately bears responsibility for the decisions, but needs the members' commitment to make it work. Consensus is not the way to guarantee commitment. A leader who acknowledges disagreement and has given the options an honest look can ask for buy-in, even from those who initially disagreed with the decision. As the members of the team grow in their trust for the leader, they become more and more likely to jump in, even if it wasn't their preferred choice. When the work begins, accountability becomes crucial. Lencioni offers several ways to build accountability into your organization. One way is to empower team members to call each other into accountability. This peer pressure can be greatly boosted by having clearly defined roles and deadlines made public. That way, one member is able to use this public proposal to check another member of the team. This is less threatening, especially if the team members are on what they consider to be different levels. Another way to let team members know that each team member is able to hold another accountable is by letting team members on various statuses run lightning round status meetings. These are basically quick, state-of-the-project meetings where each member reports their own progress and priorities to the group as a whole. No matter the host's status, it is the host's task to hold the person accountable and ask for an explanation if a group member fell short. A focus on team results should be a natural end to this kind of peer accountability, but to further ensure that the results become important to each team member, tie rewards to team results. While the reward might be enjoyed individually, free lunch or lattes on Friday, members earn the reward as a team. Doing away with perks for personal success and replacing with perks for team results will lead to cooperation rather than competition within your team. Celebrate when everyone succeeds. So, if this summary has given you some twinges of discomfort, maybe Lencioni's Fable has a message for you. His story style has the advantage of giving you real-life view of how his suggested exercises and role-playing might look in real life. Maybe you feel like Catherine, the new CEO of Decision Tech, facing a team where there just might be some dysfunction. This book could help you understand the root of the problem and explore ways to address it. And this concludes today's book summary. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support will help us continue pushing out great content. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again.